Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Now, please, only as you feel comfortable and as you are able, you can stand for the invocation and remain standing for the inclusivity pledge that follows. Thank you. Okay, I asked ChatGPT to provide a poem about transitioning into a new school year, and it came back with this rhyming couplet. No matter the age, no matter the stride, returning to school is a voyage too wide. It's a decent rhyme, I guess. But we embody Mary Baldwin's initial launch in 1842. AI cannot feel our threads of connectivity that relay charges of positive energy as we carry forward the legacy. So our spiritual guides cast us upon waters of fresh hope. Therefore, inspired by Psalm 104, I lift up this invocation. Bless the holy, clothed in a universe beautiful, wrapped in a robe of light. What variety! There's the vast expanse of the sea, teeming with countless creatures, living things large and small, with the ships going to and fro. We will be carried in the breath of life. With our love for one another as a guide, no voyage is too wide. Amen.
Please recite with me our pledge to inclusivity. We, the community of Mary Baldwin University, strive to celebrate humanity and all its wondrous and complex variation. Because we value diversity, it is our mission to sustain a community where all may flourish. We are safe to embrace our shared experiences and our differences. To this end, we treat all with respect and compassion. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe, for that inspiring message, and Reverend Cornette Scott for leading us in the Inclusivity Pledge. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the 2023-2024 academic year and our 182nd year. And welcome to those participating virtually as well. I want to share with you some great advice I received from those who viewed my remarks. One commenter said, "Speak quickly." Someone else said, "Good luck." And finally, I can't repeat the last one. Okay, so I'll say that I've been thinking about time a lot lately. Maybe it's because our motto, not for time, but for eternity, suggests that although we live in this moment, we must think beyond this time. Maybe it's because next Monday, August 28, our first day of undergraduate classes, will mark the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. Maybe because I believe that this is our time to shine at MBU, and I'm a tad impatient. Maybe I'm thinking about time because people already ask me, how have I enjoyed my time at MBU or in Stanton? And I'm still marking time in days. Today is my 53rd day at Mary Baldwin. Or maybe it's because today is my birthday. Thank you. Thank you. I made that up. No, I didn't make that up. It really is my birthday. It seems fitting to celebrate it with you because today is a beginning. A celebration of a new year for me, a new year for each of us, both individually and collectively, and a new year for Mary Baldwin. No matter the reason, we are all focused on this moment and this year, a year that will bring challenges as well as opportunities to build our campus community, our faculty and staff community, and a year that will impact us institutionally, professionally, and personally. Because this time, this work, our careers, our work with students is personal, right? We are in the business of human transformation. We, each of us, comprise a community of nearly 450 educators who shape a powerful learning community and launchpad for students. Notice I said we, all of us, are a community of educators. We, as Whitman wrote, contain multitudes. We are new, we are experienced, we are faculty, we are staff, we are Black and white and Hispanic, Christian, Muslim and Jewish, male, female, non-binary, trans, and so much more. And together, we make Mary Baldwin what it is. Inherent in our work are connections to each other and to students, connections that fuel relationships and learning. As Randy Bass has been known to say and has written, there is no learning without relationships. I guess I'm in charge of slides here. I'm excited to share that this year we welcome 557 promising new students across all programs. This year's entering class, while slightly decreased in all programs, is quite robust. You see 80 new students in graduate programs in Palmer College, 17 in graduate programs in Gold College, 32 in graduate programs in Murphy-Deming, and then that additional number of 51 students who entered programs this summer, 352 undergraduate residential students, and then 76 undergraduate online students. Across all programs and modalities, 28 states are represented, and our students range in age from 12 to 62. One student listed their birth date as 1884, placing them at 139 years old. Evidently, we removed that one. Of our 352 undergraduate residential students, 35% are first generation, 66% are female, and 33% are male, 53% are white, and 47% are students of color. We come together this week to officially restart the engines and relationships that drive student learning. Let's begin with recognition of our colleagues. Last spring, a number of our colleagues achieved service year anniversaries, which can be found in your program. This morning, I would like to recognize those who are in attendance. As you turn to that page in the program, would those of you celebrating 5-year anniversaries please stand and be recognized for your contributions to Mary Baldwin? Don't be shy. Would those of you celebrating 10-year anniversaries please stand and be recognized for your contributions? I saw you sit down right away, General Jurek. Would those of you celebrating 15-year anniversaries please stand and be recognized for your contributions? How about those of you celebrating 20-year anniversaries? Would you stand and be recognized? How about those of you celebrating 25-year anniversaries? Please stand and be recognized. Finally, would those of you celebrating 30-year anniversaries please stand and be recognized for your contributions? Now, we actually have an omission in the program. Shelley Irvine, would you come down to the stage for a minute? Shelley, according to our records, last spring you celebrated 40 years at Mary Baldwin. 40 years. I wish I had a bouquet of flowers, but I just wanted to make sure that we all thought about 4 decades of service to this institution and what that looks like and what that means for students, faculty, staff, and alumni. We can't thank you enough. If anybody has seen a lot of change at Mary Baldwin, Shelley has seen it. She's made it happen. The individuals on this page in the program represent 560 years of service to this community, an incredible testimony to the power of perseverance and commitment. Now, in addition to these years of service, the list of faculty and staff publications, awards, a campaign completion, progress on summer renovation, bringing in a class through admissions, that list is long. We have much to be proud of and build upon and to recognize our colleagues for. Our program also lists some retirees who gave considerable service to this institution during their careers. Are any of those retirees here today? They're not going to admit it because they don't want to stand. But I encourage you to reach out to those colleagues. How about another round of applause for those accomplishments? I appreciate the opportunity to recognize current and long-standing members of our community, just as we welcome new colleagues, as a way to exemplify the power and accomplishments of the community that those new colleagues join today. So I ask our new staff and faculty members if you would please stand and be welcomed. Quite an auspicious group. In your program, you'll see the full list of colleagues in alphabetical order. I ask each of us to make an effort to get to know someone that we don't know, to welcome these new faculty and staff, and to help build this community throughout the fall. For months, I've been thinking about how to explain the importance of this moment of our coming together, this moment in Mary Baldwin's history. Around us, the landscape of higher education is swirling with headlines and headwinds, campus and program closures, political rhetoric, affirmative action decisions, shrinking budgets, public skepticism, and demographic cliffs. On the one hand, we cannot ignore what students and employers and families are telling us about our offerings and our outcomes. On the other hand, as the headlines and political rhetoric swirl, we must be clear on our purpose. We've all seen the news regarding Gallup's, this is small print, sorry, Gallup's recent report finding that only 36% of Americans have a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in higher education. That represents a 20% decrease since 2015. But let's add some complexity to this by considering 2 other studies. An April poll by the Wall Street Journal and University of Chicago found that 56% of Americans agreed that a 4-year college education was, quote, not worth the cost because people often graduate without specific job skills and with a large amount of debt to pay off. That's an increase of 16% since 2013. In other words, Americans are concerned about outcomes, particularly return on investment. Now, we could spend all day arguing about learning and human transformation versus return on investment, or where this rhetoric is coming from. But let's jump ahead to a study published in July by New America.
that shows a bit more complexity regarding public views on higher education, including that 70% of Americans believe higher education leads to greater civic engagement, lower unemployment, and better public health within their communities, not to mention creating better human beings. It's not that students and families simply want a business transaction. It's not that they want only a rubber stamp pathway to a high-paying job. It's not either or. Instead, it's both and. Students and families want it all. They want a high-powered, experiential, transformative education that helps students be their best selves and to get a great job. More than ever, they are conscious of the cost of higher education, student loan debt, tangible outcomes related to jobs, salaries, alumni networks, lifelong career support, and even quality of life on campus. They want their time and their money to matter. Before I begin to answer the question of how we respond and what we can expect moving forward, I want to share a framing story entitled Day and Night. In it, a professor asks her students, how do we know when the night has ended, and the day has begun? Immediately, the students thought they grasped the importance of the question, so the brightest of the students offered an answer. When I look out at campus and I can distinguish between campus and town, that's when I know the night has ended and the day has begun. A second student quickly offered her answer. When I look up from the hill and I see a residence hall and I can tell that it's my residence hall and not the residence hall of my friend, that's when the night has ended and the day has begun. A third student offered an answer. When I can distinguish the people on the hill and I can tell a first year from a senior, that's when I know the night has ended. A fourth student offered yet another answer. Professor, when I know who to blame for the noises I hear at night, when I can see what or who is causing those noises, that's when the night has ended and the day has begun. Each of these answers brought a sadder, more severe frown to the professor's face, until she finally shouted, "No, none of you understand." Her students were stumped, unable to see their way out of the darkness. Let's pause here for a moment with the students in the dark of night to examine our own situation. As you well know, we are in a challenging financial position regarding our undergraduate residential program. For many, many, many decades, Mary Baldwin, like many institutions, has faced dwindling revenues, increasing costs, and greater and greater challenges. If we do not act, we will eventually find ourselves in a financial crisis. I have heard from many of you that for a number of years, you have felt the burden and the lack of clarity on how to move the institution forward, or even how to understand what's holding us back. So how did we arrive at this moment? Our challenges and financial deficit in the undergraduate residential program come from a variety of issues, including low student success rates in which only 40% of our students graduate and 60% of first years are retained for their second year. Our deeply held value of access means that we give 70% of every tuition dollar away in financial aid with only a $30 million endowment to support us, which eventually leads to spending more money than we take in for this undergraduate residential program. Very uplifting, I know. I'm sorry. Student and family perceptions and interests have changed, as more than 8 million 18 to 24-year-olds nationally are choosing not to attend college. Also, inflation and other increasing costs in healthcare, in food, transportation, energy, etc., have added to our budget over the long term without matching increases in revenue. And aging facilities and decreases in budgets and staffing have led to extensive deferred maintenance. The bottom line, we have been structured in ways to spend more money than we take in for the undergraduate residential program. And government funds during COVID, as well as revenues from Murphy-Deming and online programs through Palmer College, have been covering those losses. If that wasn't enough, here's a few slides to show what this looks like. This is the money we take in, our unrestricted operating revenue, not including funds we have not received, meaning it doesn't include unpaid pledges or future commitments made in donors' wills for after they pass away. And I'm showing 2021 because 2022 included some very unique and larger than normal gifts, and 2023's books aren't closed yet. So as you look at this, let me just point out that 81% of our revenue each year, or at least in 2021, and it's about this each year, comes from tuition, room, board, and fees, right? We are a tuition-dependent institution, like most private institutions. Okay, let's take a closer look at the part of our revenue that we actually keep, and that goes into the budget. So our gross or total tuition for each year is at the top of the yellow bar. The yellow portion of the bar represents how much of that money we give back in aid. The black portion represents how much we keep or net. And let me make it clear that I don't have this in my notes, but I'm not arguing against giving financial aid, nor is that a simple solution to solve these problems. So the example here is that gross or total tuition and fees in 2017 reached $35 million. That leaves the net tuition revenue that we can use for our budget in black, which was just over $21 million. So if you look across the years, you can see that in order to fill our undergraduate residential class each year, we have given more and more financial aid, and it has grown from $12.4 million in 2017 to nearly $22 million in 2021, an increase of $9.6 million. At the same time, our net tuition revenue only grew $4 million, from $22.6 to $26.6 million. That's a challenge. Now let's look at expenses. As you can see here, our 2022 budget was allocated as follows, with the largest portion going to instruction, but with increases during COVID, showing a higher number in student services. The remaining funds go to auxiliaries such as dining, campus shops, security, etc., and all remaining offices and operations being called institutional support, including everything from advancement to admissions to administration. Here's the kicker. This chart shows all money we take in, represented by the black bar, minus our operating expenses, that budget I showed you, and that's in yellow. So you'll notice how the expenses in yellow dipped in 2021 during COVID as we made cuts, but increased quickly afterward because it takes a certain amount of money to run an institution and serve students, right? What you see here is the operating expenses exceeding the revenues. The gray bar at the bottom of the chart, if you can see that, represents our structural deficit, how much our expenses to run the institution eclipsed our revenues. So in 2021, with an influx of COVID funding and a decrease in expenses, we actually ran a positive surplus. That's where we want to be. This year, we expect and have forecast to include a $3 to $4 million deficit. We expect a deficit next year as well. In other words, it doesn't change immediately. Let me pause to discuss what has already been done to navigate this deficit, what you already know. You're familiar with steps ranging from budget cuts and freezes to freezing salaries to unfilled job openings to not adding new positions. But I thought it might be helpful to be specific about the employee and budget changes during the past few years. In 2017, we had approximately 525 faculty and staff, and this fall we start the year with 446 faculty and staff. That's a significant decrease of 15%. And every one of those numbers is a colleague, is a friend, is someone who we valued and was giving to this institution. In addition to faculty and staff positions that have been eliminated, many positions have gone unfilled, including grounds crew, the provost, faculty, student engagement staff, VP of communications, chief health officer, and many, many others. Thus, the reality we confront is daunting. There is no simple solution or singular cause. There is no simple solution or singular cause. I wish I could tell you it was going to be easy, or that I brought you here on my birthday to depress you. That's not it. But we will face challenging decisions in the months ahead, and we cannot do this work without confronting it openly. We will eliminate this deficit over the next few years by taking steps to control costs, make careful investments, and increase revenues. The path forward requires a laser focus on students and student learning, closing and reconceptualizing some academic programs, modernizing many aspects of the campus to meet current student demand, and making strategic choices to be distinctive, to partner with external organizations, and to better support students' career and graduate school goals. Each of these efforts will be grounded in our most important work, student success, and increasing student engagement, student retention, student graduation rates, and student outcomes after graduation. Let's return to the professor in the story asking her students, how do we know when the night has ended and the day has begun? The students had answers about distinguishing campus and town, or between different people, or when they knew who to blame for actions and noises. You remember the professor shouted, "No, none of you understand. You only know how to divide. You divide campus from town, your hall from the hall of your classmate, one student from another, or even who to blame. Is that all we can do? Divide, separate, split the world into pieces? Isn't the world broken enough? Split into fragments? Our values want more from us." The shocked students looked into the sad face of their professor. One of them ventured, "Then, Professor, tell us, how do we know the night has ended and the day has begun?" The professor stared back into the faces of their students and with a gentle and imploring voice responded, "When you look into the face of the person who is beside you, and you can see that person is your brother, your sister, your colleague, when you recognize that person as a partner, a friend, then finally, the night has ended and the day has begun." The professor guides us on how to proceed. Connections, working together, and leveraging our many assets represent the way forward. Our personnel, our students, our alumni, our programs, this place, and our values all must be connected to be the best Mary Baldwin for this time and beyond. Now, I want to provide two cautions at this point. On the one hand, this conversation should not be simplified to a headline of jobs versus liberal arts. On the other hand, we cannot ignore that students, parents, and industry are calling for greater connections between what we do and jobs. Just last week, senior studio art major and marketing minor Charlotte Bradley emailed me after I had emailed students about keeping the best parts of a liberal arts education while providing experiences that create skilled and work-ready students. Insightfully, Charlotte wrote the following: "I think that this is a great take on what it means to have a liberal arts degree. I think that Mary Baldwin should provide more experiences and classes dealing with current technology. My experience has been very limited in terms of technology. I wish that I was taught more about how current industry works and what they use, because I want to know how to combine my traditional skills with tech. I think that integrating technology into our learning and understanding how to use it is important, and it would be very beneficial for students about to enter the workforce. I also believe that other majors, specifically those in the humanities, might have similar thoughts as well. Let's see if I can get to there. We make a promise to students and families that investing with us will result in students being launched into lives of purpose and professional success. We cannot ignore mounting pressure in and on higher education and how students have been voting with their feet regarding their college careers. There is an energy here. And last spring, as I began meeting members of the community, I could feel that energy, the passion, and the potential, compelling me to step away from a place I called home for 21 years. I wanted to be part of the Mary Baldwin community and Mary Baldwin's future. It was a moment, as Bridges describes in his book Transitions, when, like the trapeze artist, I could sense that next bar flying towards me. You know the moment. We are holding on for dear life, but we know we must let go, flying briefly untethered through the air before grabbing on to that next bar. I am here because education transformed the trajectory of my own family from some of history's darkest nights of Nazis and pogroms. I believe Mary Baldwin is, at its heart, a beacon of light on the hill, always rising, always improving lives, showing courage to endeavor for what is right and equitable, to raise people up, to educate, to fight for those who need it, for women, for the underrepresented, and providing access to education that transforms lives. This flame of education and opportunity is more important than ever for our students and in this country. And each of us have our personal reasons for being here, reasons that matter. So I ask you, why are you here? Why did you come to Mary Baldwin? What do you hope to accomplish? My guess is that your answers are also grounded in passion and hope. So that brings us to the work ahead. James McCarty, a professor of conflict management at Boston University, who has written extensively on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., argues that today, if he were alive, Dr. King would go beyond moral appeals of "I have a dream," and with passion, hope, and a sense of urgency, would likely say, "Get organized." In the years ahead, we will get organized. We will engage in multiple Herculean tasks at the same time. We will engage in downsizing and modernizing our general studies and curriculum. We will endeavor to increase student success, retention, completion, and job and graduate school attainment. At the same time, we will work to build relationships and community across campus, and also start up exciting engaged learning programs that sharpen students' purpose, passion, and skills. Already, 2 task forces have stepped up to begin this work. I'd like to thank the faculty and staff who serve on the Engaged Student Experience and Academics Portfolio creative teams listed on screen. This summer, these teams have been meeting regularly to advance progress on their charges as laid out by the board on May 25. The Academic Portfolio team is drafting 10 general education courses and organizing majors into 4 to 5 categories representing critical sectors of the economy. Some academic programs will be reconceptualized, and some will even be closed. This effort will ensure students get the best of the liberal arts while folding in industry-informed majors. This work will require us also to build faculty development offerings, grow institutional research capacities, and increase support for engaged learning across campus. The Engaged Student Experience Creative Team is designing a model to ensure every student enters with a residential cohort based on their academic interests, and through that residential program will be connected with faculty, staff, social and intellectual programming, and more. They will be able to build durable power skills through civic engagement, service, leadership opportunities, and the support of a network or team of mentors. They will have the opportunity to study and work away, take on micro internships and full semester internships, and they will be supported in finding those internships and jobs by the McCree Center for Life Success, which launches this fall. This work and the vision for the years ahead are grounded in a notion that student success is everyone's job. We are 450 educators who create a supportive campus environment, challenge and support students, and help them discover their passions and skills so they may become their best selves. That means every one of us has a role to play in shaping the campus environment, getting to know students, and making them and their families our #1 priority, whether they are in-person, online, undergraduate, or graduate students. This work will enrich our current students, strengthen our reputation, and draw new students to Mary Baldwin. Here's 4 quick starting points that I also want to offer for the year ahead. Let's move to the first one. Well-being and development. I'm thrilled that we have just signed a contract with Timely Care as a resource for all students. My thanks to Dr. Jeffries for making this connection and for reallocating budgets to get this 24/7 access to therapy for all undergraduate and graduate students, in addition to our current counseling services. This is a fantastic resource that our students desperately need, and you'll be hearing more about how this will work and how you can engage. In order to build trust and morale on campus, I will charge 2 campus committees, each led by faculty and staff co-chairs. First, a faculty staff experience committee to consider short and long-term suggestions for enhancing staff and faculty work experience, well-being, professional development opportunities, like Amy Deduck and Derek Bruff's sessions today, and connections across online Murphy-Deming and the Stanton campus. Second, a committee focused on developing a university DEI plan and implementation list to build on the work of the Racial and Social Justice Coalition. We cannot do our work without a clear focus on intercultural competency, equitable hiring practices, inclusive campus systems, belonging for all on campus, and more. After recent Supreme Court decisions, it has never been more important to ensure that we understand how to make real our commitments to diversity, inclusion, and equity. 2, operations. A second area of focus will be raising the quality of our operations. This will be across campus and could include areas such as our ability to access and utilize data to improve our work. This will require investment over time, but we must increase the quality of our physical campus and our services if we expect to compete. One way we will do this is to create public annual institutional and divisional priorities that we track and share. This year, the executive staff have chosen engaged student learning and experiences, dynamic faculty staff experience and development, and institutional sustainability and strategy as the 3 areas for our institutional priorities. In the future, we'll decide these areas together when we start a strategic plan. Via email, we'll send you a copy of these priorities so you are aware of them, and these will include names of specific executive staff who are tasked with leading these areas and for which we will track progress throughout the year. 3, connections and partnerships. Our McCree Center for Life Success will launch this year, and this staff, led by T. Wynn and Christina Harris, will focus on helping students to find internships and jobs. This team is already working to build relationships and partnerships with employers all over the country, and will be happy to work with academic departments on these connections and what departments need. As I travel the country this year, meeting with donors and alumni, raising money, I'll also be meeting with corporations and foundations, asking for their input and support of our academics and experiences that build skills and career preparation. I believe we will only strengthen higher education if we can bring academics, nonprofits, industry, and government together like this, including bringing these groups to campus to better understand what we do, and also to tell us what challenges or problems they are facing and how recent graduates are performing. And of course, we'll be working with faculty on developing additional connections between and across our academic programs. This may include 3+2 programs that will attract undergraduates who can complete their bachelor's and go right into the graduate programs that we already offer, and do that in 5 years. And finally, community. You heard me say this work is personal and is about connections. That means we have to know each other, we have to be open, and we have to communicate. In order to support the development of community, we've asked Chartwell's, our dining partner, to provide a meal once a month to staff and faculty on a select day. We'll start that tradition today again. And you will see that happening at different times during the year, as well as other events to bring us together. Now, in advance of launching a campus-wide strategic planning process that will include all students, faculty, staff, alumni, trustees, local community members, and hopefully starting this spring we will do that, I will engage in a listening tour, coming to campus divisions and departments and colleges, asking you to share directly with me your thoughts. As I mentioned in my recent email, we will also have town halls on Thursday, August 31, and Thursday, September 14 during the convocation hour. We'll email those out. And of course, we'll be working on how to better connect the online Murphy-Deming and Stanton campus students, faculty, and staff. We are one community. There is a bright future ahead, and your input is essential for that future. I ask that you stop me on the sidewalk regularly and tell me what you think. That you tell me your thoughts on what is working, what you are proud of, and what needs improvement, even if you've said it before. Many of you know my work over 2 decades at Elon University, a school that strategically plotted a trajectory based on its own distinctiveness. I stand here today with the belief that Mary Baldwin's best and brightest days are ahead, and I look to you with optimism. In order to propel students for the unknown future, we will work together to build our shared vision for this time and long into the future, and focus on student success and the connections that drive learning. Our students need this personal work from us in this moment. Let me close today with a note from E.B. White. In 1973, White, author of The Elements of Style and children's books Stuart Little and Charlotte's Web, wrote the following in reply to a follower concerned with the bleak future for the human race. Quote, "As long as there is one upright individual, as long as there is one compassionate person, the contagion may spread and the scene is not so desolate. Hope is the thing that is left to us. I shall get up in the morning and wind the clock. Things can look dark, then a break shows in the clouds, and all is changed, sometimes rather suddenly. It is quite obvious that the human race has made a mess of life on this planet. But as people, we probably harbor seeds of goodness that have lain for a long time, waiting to sprout when the conditions are right. Our curiosity, our relentlessness, our inventiveness, our ingenuity. We can only hope these traits will enable us. White closes the letter with these 3 simple sentences. Hang on to your hat, hang on to your hope, and wind the clock, for tomorrow is another day. So colleagues, fellow educators, I wish you a fantastic year ahead. Please stop me on the sidewalk, introduce yourself, tell me what's on your mind, and let's work together towards that future. You will hear me say, all in for Mary Baldwin. All in. So let's wind the clock. Thank you.
If you'll all rise for the singing of the hymn.
Let's just give Amber Ocasio a hand for leading us. And that sounded pretty good from where I was sitting, so give yourselves a hand too for being our choir today. Just a few things about our schedule for today. As you see on our board, we will leave directly from here to Page Terrace, and we invite you all to come out to our reception. And then our discussion on student engagement data, Dr. Amy Deduck will be leading us in that. And then, as Dr. Stein said, we're starting today by inviting all of you to Hunt Dining Hall so that we can have lunch together. Our faculty session at 1, and then at 2:30 the various colleges faculty meetings. Also, I don't know whether you all feel this, but I feel a rumbling on the ground right now, because tomorrow is the day that our new students come in. And you know, I hope everyone in here is excited. Are y'all excited? I don't know. I'm not convinced. Now, you know, one of the things that people always ask me, are you ready? I'm never ready until today. This day, this event always gets me ready, so I'm excited. So are you all excited that our new students are coming? All right, good. So on tomorrow, we want to invite all of you at 5 o'clock up in front of Hunt Dining Hall and down on Page Terrace. We will have our family farewell a picnic. So all of you are invited to come and celebrate our new class with them and their families, and at the time that we bid their parents adieu, because we do want them to leave so we can do our work. And then on Sunday, we're making a big push this year with our new student convocation, 7 o'clock here on Page Terrace. And what we're trying to do with that is that we want to give them a vision of what commencement 4 years from now will look like. So we ask that you come support our new students and again end their orientation experience on a strong note, so that they can be charged up and ready to go on Monday morning. And again, we thank you all for coming this morning, and we wish you good luck and a great year that as we get ready to kick this thing off. So thank you very much for being here today. And now head to Page Terrace.